I have with me Oz Καραχάν. Oz Καραχάν is a candidate member of the parliament in Λευκωσία with the Green Party, κίνημα Οικολόγων, Συνεργασία Πολιτών. Actually, I like this thing now. We're going to play with the languages, but play with the English, go to Greek.
They're not finding solutions, they're just talking. They're just giving promises, because talking is free, cheap, and the action is what is missing, and people are tired of it. And the other important thing is that we have many young people studying abroad, doing very, very valuable things, from art to science, from technology and other fields. Is government supporting these fields of the economy? But of course, we need academies, we need institutions for the agriculture institutions, farmer academies, and government education programs, pushing the young generation to take care of their soil.
Φίλες και φίλοι θεατές, καλώς ορίσατε σε ακόμα ένα podcast therapy. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a podcast therapy. Today, I have with me Oz Καραχάν. Oz Καραχάν is a candidate member of the parliament in Λευκωσία with the Green Party, κίνημα Οικολόγων, Συνεργασία Πολιτών. Actually, I like this thing now. We're going to play with the languages, but play with the English, go to Greek. If we're going to talk in Turkish, you need to help me anyway.
I will.
Yeah. And if we're going to change any other languages. Anyway, so welcome, Oz.
Thank you very much, Harry.
So you decided to run for the parliament of the Cyprus Republic.
Yeah.
And I think this is a huge decision from your side. I mean, so what's the first reaction? What do you receive as a person, as a politician?
When I was candidate for the European Parliament elections 2 times, the people who supported this effort said that European Parliament is okay, European Parliament is good, but we need Turkish Cypriots also in the national parliament. We prove the world that we don't need apartheid solutions during the European Parliament elections, where Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots could vote each other. And we need to show it that this can happen in the national parliament as well. And of course, the European Parliament and national parliament has different areas of working. And it is as both of them are important, but for the touching the people's lives, and we are going through very hard times, and we will go through very hard times in the next years. So I thought to myself, I have to put myself in my people's service.
Yeah, you know, Oz, I already, because we're gonna call each other with our first name. I mean, that's why I love podcasts, because it's not so formal.
Exactly.
They are serious, but not playing serious, which I love it. Anyway, in my introduction, I present you as a Cypriot.
Yes.
And you know, I'm going to repeat myself, because I said many times in many different cases, I believe the first step that all Cypriots we must do, and this have nothing to do about what we believe, I mean, what is our DNA or what we believe that it's our origin, is to skip the Turkish Cypriot, the Greek Cypriot.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
So you're a Cypriot, and there's a Cypriot that is running for elections for the parliament, which let me say, and feel a bit sorry saying, but it's a fact, that it's a very, very serious endeavor. But at the same time, I can spot around, like you, like each one of us, that it's getting almost to the level of humiliation. It's really tragic. And I want to comment from you about the way that some people, they approach to the election to the parliament.
Yeah, I mean, generally in all over the world and in Cyprus, the trust to politicians and the politics are going low. And that is happening in our place extraordinarily wise because of the corruption, because of people are seeing that the political elite who governed our state until now are not finding solutions. They're just talking. They're just giving promises, because talking is free, cheap, and the action is what is missing. And people are tired of it. But we have to tell the people, if we don't choose the correct people into the positions, we are not gonna have any solution to any of our problems. And the the protest votes, or the reactive things are totally understandable, but we also have to understand that the people we are choosing, neither for the parliament, neither for the president or European Parliament, they're making decisions on behalf of us. They are our representatives. So we need to put clean people and people who has the ability to make the change.
This podcast is not going to be in the direction of let's meet, let's know, and let's talk about things. No. Basically, I want to focus on the pillars, of your policy pillars, how they call it. Basically, why you run in this election. And so I'm telling you from now, I'm going to have a sneak peek. About the thing. And basically, I like very much the first one, talking about young people. And I like very much your introduction that the cost of living is destroying dreams. There is another way. Beyond is catchy, and I must admit it. Let's go beyond the catchy now. What do you mean?
Again, when our politicians and especially government and the governmental parties, when they start talking about politics, they usually like to talk about national economy, the inflation rate, the unemployment rate, and these kind of numbers, because these numbers serves them. But one thing that doesn't serve them is the household economy, what people feels in their pocket. Mm-hmm. And the tragic situation that we are living in Cyprus is beyond any political talk. People are trying very hard to make ends meet until the end of the month. We know about that. But there is one more danger when we talk about the cost of living rising and the purchasing power is getting lower. This economy affects our values, affects our moral values, affects our social values. And we see the numbers. The recent number about the homelessness in Cyprus. I mean, when I use the homelessness in Cyprus, I feel strange, because we didn't have that. We are a small nation. We are a group of people who traditionally very attached to each other, right? But right now we have homelessness in Cyprus. And the recent number, yes, we do. Recently, the government officials finally admit that we have hundreds of they gave the number to around 200, 250, but probably it is more, because we don't know what's their criteria when they define those people. We have homeless people in Cyprus. I mean, again, it is shocking, and this is not our culture. This is not our moral values and social values. So it is the cost of living affecting the people, and to affect reacting to this cost of living, there has to be things done by the government, by of course the parliament, the representatives of the nation. There are things has to be done, and in the pillars that I promote and the action plan that I promote that after the election is touching those action should be taken. I mean, we have to first of all make the purchasing power stronger, to make the cost of living lower. For that, we need to support the vulnerable part of our society. Mm-hmm. For that, we need to increase the local production with helping the producers, with subsidies, with advantages in the tax. Yeah. We have, of course, support the middle and lower income groups, and there are ways to do that. And we were doing those things at some point of time, but right now we are not, and we have to get back to that. Of course, there is a global phenomena happening, all these things, but again, as I said, the small nations, especially small island nations, has a different ecosystem, different cultural, social system. We have to protect that, and that system is basically standing for each other and protecting each other.
Yeah, basically for everything you mentioned, some can make an argument that okay, fine, it sounds nice and everything, but what about corruption to rebuild trust? Because basically, if you make a poll with 100 persons, just ask on the street, what's the biggest problem? I mean, do you trust our government? Do you trust our parliament? Do you trust politicians? They're gonna say everybody, and they're gonna say this character. Everybody is eating. Everybody is eating. So basically, this leads to corruption and to rebuild trust. Because I'm asking you this question. To be frank with you, I understand that you come from a party that the κίνημα Οικολόγων have 30 years history, that they always be actually they never be invited in the party because they never want to take part in the party. But anyway, how you think? What do you think about this? Because you mentioned in your appearance that corruption will be trust, and I really want to hear from you how you're gonna make this.
Yeah. For that, again, we need to push for some regulations and some laws. I mean, as I mentioned, right now, because of it's one of the top priority for the people, I mean, the corruption and the economy, we are hearing from every political party very fancy words. Even the governmental parties who ruled these countries, they act like they weren't there. I mean, like, who created this situation weren't there.
It wasn't us, huh?
It was someone else.
Somebody else, but not us.
Not us.
Okay.
I mean, but there are, of course, for this, there are things to do. I mean, and I talk about these things very oftenly. And first of all, I mean the institutional transparency. This is very important, and this is what we are lacking. But for doing that, it's not like just saying that we need to have a transparency. We need to have laws. We need to have regulation, and we need to have institutions, independent institutions against corruption. Mm-hmm. We don't have. I mean, most of the European countries has, but we don't have it. Yeah. We need to have mandatory asset audit for politicians, but not only for the politicians, also other governmental workers who are assigned by the politicians. We need to have that as well, because we know that the corruption is a multi-layered, and it is not happening in simple way, a politician filling its pockets. It's like a web. It's like a criminal web. Mm-hmm. So for defeating that criminal web, not only the politicians, also the people in the key position where politicians assign, there has to be also mandatory asset audit. And the other thing is that, of course, important, and many countries in Europe has that clear framework for the lobbying. Because we know that in every election period, especially in the presidential elections, we hear that huge companies are supporting, and well-known companies, certain candidates, and do some organizations and companies do lobbying activities. These are dangerous things. And Cyprus is, in European Union, one of the countries who have the less rules, regulations, and laws against, defeating these criminal webs.
Yeah, I got it. And I want to mention also another something. Okay, to be honest with you, I was copying a lot of things from your pillars, but they are very interesting. Basically, that's what we're talking about. I mean, it's not just words.
Yeah.
say the political ethos I represent, to be honest with you, it's one of the rare moments that I see in the appearance of a candidate to say the political ethos I represent. Tell me something about this.
I mean, you mentioned again, I mean, I'm going to election with, of course, this is a part of a long-term cooperation with the Green Party. The only party at this moment in the parliament, and only party who has 30 years of history and still clean, still fighting for the people, still with the heart of activists, and they are fighting a sincere fight. I'm coming from that direction. I mean, my background is with that direction too. The only thing that I represent and I care is what is advantage in the people's lives. This is also, of course, well known about the Cyprus issue, defending the sovereignty of this land and of this state and the people's freedom, but also on the other issues as well. No hidden agenda, just defending the people's lives and good. That's the thing.
Yeah, you know, if we see around us with all these, I believe that the level of politics, they getting lower. And this is, I'm not going to start saying now about Phidias or any other people. This is not the case. Basically, the level of the politics is lower because of the politicians. And many times I mention that if there is somebody to blame, then the parties, and especially the traditional parties, say traditional parties of 30 or 40 or whatever, how many years before, this is where it starts the problem, because they stop producing politics. Now, my question is about the so-called punitive vote, because the newcomers, let's call them newcomers, what they're saying, we don't know, but it's okay. The people that they do know, or the people with the suits and the ties that they know, they did better than us. So let's go and punish them. I want to hear your thesis about this specific subject.
Yeah. I a little bit touched that, but let's get into that more, because probably that is gonna define our next month's the protest vote or punitive vote. I have to say that I don't have strong positions, because I see many politicians who are demonizing this attitude, but this anger from the people are totally understandable, and I feel also that good about this anger, because I see that people, this is a reaction. This is basically the reaction, but not every reaction is bad. When the reaction is controlled, is something good. We have to react. So for me, the anger is totally understandable and totally legitimate. And we need a change. But for that, we need better solutions. And we need to have alternatives, and we will have alternatives in the ballot and in our society. So we saw in the European Parliament the reaction of the protest votes, and some political parties got the message, most of them didn't get the message. But our people has a right to react. I'm just gonna repeat that we have to control our anger in that sense to define our next few years, what's gonna happen in our country. Because as I mentioned before, next years are not gonna be easy years, because we are gonna for sure have some news about the Cyprus issue. First of all, we are gonna for sure have economically hardship because of what is happening in our region. It's very volatile. We don't know what's gonna happen. We are some people talks about the Third World War in our region. So the economy the Cyprus issue and all the other issues, we need to find people that can show the road to us correctly. That's why, again, as I said, I understand the anger, but we need to make our decisions wisely.
Yeah. And making hard decisions, talking about the future. You're a Cypriot that you was study abroad, you worked abroad, and you choose to come back. And why I emphasize on choose to come back, because right now we have a huge phenomenon about the brain drain. Basically, young Cypriots, they go and study, and because of the conditions and working conditions, and because of the income, and because maybe also the safety issues, they choose to stay mostly in European Union countries, and to stay there. And basically, it's like we send the best brains, we send them abroad. First of all, I want you to tell me about your case and why you came back, because I'm sure you heard this. Why you came back, especially when somebody see your CV where you work. So start from your case, and I want to hear from you what you plan to do with your election to not to solve the whole problem, but at least to make it more easy.
Yeah. As you mentioned, I studied abroad. I studied in Czech Republic, then Sweden for my university. And after that, I lived abroad. I lived in the United States. I lived in Germany and some other countries, and work in those countries as well. I wanted to come back some years ago. It's been 8 years now. Because of this reason, even when you are abroad and when you live nicely, at least for my case, it was bothering me that my home was not clean. It was bothering me that I'm away and contributing some other society than my own society. So that's the reason that I come back. And since when I come back, the things in Cyprus, of course, going worse and worse, as you mentioned. The brain drain, the young people are leaving so much more than, 8 years ago, it wasn't the case right as it is right now. And there are many reasons for that. Can young people afford to have a house or have a home? Can young people afford to create families? Can young people afford to or manage to find a job that they are studied, in the fields that they are studied? These are the main things. And the previous generation had the opportunity to do all of these. But this, my generation and the next generation came after us, they don't have that luxury. It's became luxury right now, and this is not normal. And the young people are leaving abroad to find these, in quote, privileges. In quote, I'm saying privileges, and that has to change, of course. As I mentioned, that how it can change, of course, supporting the young people in terms of how they're finding a place to stay, finding their home, and of course, how to maintain their life. That's the multi-layered problem. First of all, of course, the cost of living is high. The salaries are not enough in Cyprus for a young person to survive, or young couple or young family to survive. It's of course harder. There has to be a regulation on the generally on the market as well, the rents, the goods, and also the salaries as well. We introduced the minimum salary, one of the latest European country who introduced the minimum salary to the society. That is Cyprus. Right now we have, but it is so little. And I know many young people, many Cypriot, who are living with that salary, or some salary is close to that. Can person live today in 2025 with the minimum salary that our country has? No. And the other important thing is that we have many young people studying abroad, doing very, very valuable things, from art to science, from technology and other fields. is government supporting these fields of the economy to flourish? No. What do we have at this moment? Ecosystem in Limassol and area, which is based on these financial jobs. We have the governmental jobs, and everybody is pushed by the society to find a job and survive during these 1, 2, 3 fields of the economy. But the young people wants to do what they love, like the previous generation did, and our society needs. We need artists, we need technology, innovation companies, enterprises. We need all those things. And it affects, by the way, this is not only about economy and brain drain, it affects the demography as well. I mean, of course, Cypriots are leaving and other people are coming. This is affecting our demographical structure. This is affecting because also the young people don't want to marry, don't want to create a family. So these are very dangerous, especially again I'm mentioning a small island nation. That these things are very dangerous, and we are seeing the numbers in the Eurostats, the European Union statistics about the demographics recently. I mean, the Cyprus is the first country who receives the asylum seekers for many years. Right now, last 2 years, it changed a bit, but before then, and also one of the first countries who the citizens leaves and go to other European countries. So how long this can continue? For the capital, for the capitalists and for the government officials, because I am hearing their statements, this is fine. They say that, for example, easily, more than one third of our workforce are foreigners, and we need these people. They say easily like that, and but they don't tell us why our people are leaving, why the salaries are low, the wage market are low, why we cannot satisfy our young people to stay in their homeland. So again, as I said, who can change this? The people can change this. People's vote can change this, because the capital and our political elite who got elected with those support of these lobbying of these companies of the capital, they don't have problem. They don't have problem with our demographic structure, but we have.
Yeah. Because you mentioned the demographic structure, and it's something that sometimes I'm amazed from the way that we're moving in this country. And as I said many times, I feel so lucky, like a Jogan said it. I feel so lucky because I live in the most interesting country of the world. By saying this, I mean, it's just numbers. In 2 or 3 decades, we're going to be minority. The Cypriots are going to be minority. So instead of taking measures and the things that you already mentioned, it's like, I don't know, it's like we see what we're going to do tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, and that's it. But you said it very well and the thing, so...
Because, sorry to interrupt, because these people, the political elite, they see this state, the Cyprus, as a commodity, as a meta that they can sell and fill their pocket. They don't see it as a homeland. They see it as a foster land. That is the source of this problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to another subject. Actually, I'm quite impressed because you're touching something that we don't hear it many times, that it's about the private sector and the food self-sufficiency. And I like very much the quote you said there, that a country that cannot feed its people is not a safe country. Okay, I never hide it that I'm really fond and I'm really like geopolitics. And and one of the main issues in every geopolitical analysis or studies or whatever, one of the main factors is if the country can feed its own people. And mostly when we talk about an island, I mean, just for a second, if we think that, okay, I know that you really expect to ask you about Cyprus issue. It's going to be at the end. It's going to be, I know. Because, anyway, Cyprus issue, whatever we say, if we will not be focused and be very careful for the things that are upcoming, how correctly you said, then you don't have a country to worry about. But at the same time, if we think for a second that it can be some kind of blocking how ships they come to bring food or whatever, because we destroying the last 2 decades or 3 decades the food self-sufficiency. People, they're not going to work in the fields or to produce something to produce the food we need, and we don't have self-sufficiency. So, because you mentioned on your program, so I want to hear from you. What's your ideas about this?
That is the concept of food sovereignty. I mean, this is a very important subject, especially in this multipolar world order. Everything about sovereignty is important, and the food sovereignty is the essential. Why it's essential? Of course, you know that famous pyramid of needs. The first part is what? The food, shelter, and security. Because that's what we need to survive: food, shelter, and security. And these, at today's world, these 3 things are provided by the sovereignty, self-sufficiency. That is the important part. I mean, in right now, what we need and what every single country is doing or forced to do, I will tell why they are forced to do some of them, is the providing support to the production. And these are of course, the agriculture. These are, of course, the other things like the animal and the other sectors for the food. Of course, the water is important as well. For that, we need to water and energy. We need to find solutions too, because water and energy is connected with the production as well. And again, it is when we talk about the Cyprus issue, even though if you don't want to talk about Cyprus issue, all these are related to the Cyprus issue as well. Because when you don't have a sovereign country, when you have a country that looks more like a semi-colony, then you are dependent. They made you dependent, the external powers or some other powers, to them. So the important thing is that what can we do? And I will read you from my program, because there's a very structured program that I did for this. For the supporting, for instance, the young farmers, because we were mentioning why young people are leaving. Yes. And why young people are not interested with these sectors as well. I mean, with the agriculture. So the answer is that because there is no enough support, and even the kids of the farmers, the children of the farmers, are choosing other paths to go. So there are ways the government to support it. For example, the tax exemptions for period of time. Let's say for first 5 years, for the young farmers I am talking to you, or young farmers who wants to continue their family efforts, because we have a lot of these kind of families in Cyprus. Installation grants up to 25,000 euros, for instance. 0 social insurance contribution for certain period of year, maybe not 5 years, but maybe 2 years. Could be subsidized by the government. Of course, most important thing, interest-free loans for the equipment, greenhouse, irrigation, and all those kind of equipments. 60% subsidy for smart farming technologies, very, very important. Yeah. I mean, for having a productive and efficient production. And the most important, maybe, of course, the education is very important.
Yeah.
We, of course, have traditionally our farmer families are giving to next generations all these wisdom. But of course, we need academies. We need institutions for the agriculture institutions, farmer academies, and government education programs, pushing the young generation to take care of their soil. Take care of their soil. That is the most important. Instead of government promoting of selling our soil to the foreigners, we are saying that government should push laws to make young people interested with the farming, interested with the agriculture, and create value from their soil, as our ancestors did for thousands of years, and we managed to survive until now. So all these problems that we are talking are existential, because right now we got into trend that our ancestors, the people who lived on this island, never had. We survived because of Cyprus's isolation in the previous centuries, very self-sufficiently. And when we talk about the food sovereignty and other security matters, and we need to go back to our factory settings, because this is what's happening in the world. Yeah. Right now, United States is so far away, but when I talk with the people from Canada, their main agenda right now is the tariffs, as you know, the Trump's tariffs. Yes. And the other countries as well. And what are these in this multipolar world order? These tariffs and other tools that other countries that can impose on the certain countries. That shows again that how this self-governance, self-sufficiency, food sovereignty are essential for us to survive. It's existential.
Yeah. You know, I was listening to you very careful what it is you say about the young farmers and everything. And because I'm coming from, my origins from Lithrodontas.
Okay.
Lithrodontas, it's famous. Okay, I know. Every time I find an excuse to talk about Lithrodontas, okay. I love my village. Basically, I live in Lacha. Anyway, Lithrodontas, he was very famous for many years about olives. We have hundreds of olive trees. I mean, I'm not going to say thousands, maybe thousands. But I remember when I was a kid that how we were collecting, how we be picking the olives. It was a really hard job. Right now there are so many automations, and the training and the Young Farmers Academy here, it's essential to maximize the production. But at the same time, I know that talking with my relatives, because I wish I had time to go and pick up olives. Really, we're going to pick olives once together.
That's it. I love it. I love it.
But you know the feeling of the thing.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
When you go and you spend all this time, all this effort to have all these trees, and don't get and not getting the right price for the production, and at the same time to pay money which is for some olive oil, for example, that is okay. How is this olive oil from is coming? Nobody cares. It's just about the price. It's really we really need to change the whole mentality.
Definitely.
And if you allow me, just to add on the things, because it's interesting. That's why I want to suggest you. Yeah. It's how to train our people, our Cypriots. We need to train them, even to advertise to them that choose the Cyprus production.
Definitely.
The Cyprus products. Definitely. I mean, that's the main thing to support the whole. Anyway, Definitely. Because you trick me here, because I get into the. But it's very interesting. All right, so I want to talk about the Cyprus issue.
All right.
And basically, I let it last because it's not last. I totally agree with you. It's from where everything begins, and I want to read one of your quotes here, that Cyprus is defined by its people and not by foreign armies and bases. All right, to be honest with you, it sounds nice, but I know that you are into geopolitics. Right now, Cyprus it seems to be like it's already choose with what allies they want to be. Many people they feel or they think wrongly that we already have some kind of treaties with Israel that is going to come and protect us. I will never forget when I was host here, the ambassador of State of Israel, and when I asked him, a very nice guy by the way, very nice guy, and I asked him in a provocative way, I must admit, like since now that we are so good friends with Israel, you know, I guess you're going to support Cyprus in the case of a military threat if Turkey attacks us, actually. Yeah. And his answer, it was like grounded me. He said, what are you doing to protect yourselves? This is something that we need to forget. And based on this is my last question to you also. Thank you again to be with us. How you see Cyprus in the next, I wouldn't say next 5 years, because things changing, not even on a monthly basis, changing on a week. So how you see Cyprus, the future of Cyprus?
With the attitude of the current government and the current political elite, the future is not bright. Future is getting darker, and that's one of the reasons that the people like me and I myself step up to talk. I was always talking, but right now trying to talk in a get the people's support to talk in a higher tone. Like you said, Cyprus, the government, our government, looks like he chose the side. He have allies, but I don't think those quotation mark allies choose Cyprus ever. And right now, you gave an example about Israel. Of course, you know my opinion about Israel, but he's right. He is right, the ambassador, because from the ancient Greece, I have one saying that I use all my life, and I live my life according to that as well. Mm-hmm. What is that? Athena will help you, but first you need to use your hands. Of course, Athena is not Israel, but the point is that we need to use our hands. Mm-hmm. And that's what we don't do. We never did. I'm talking the period after 1974. And we always try to choose allies and sides. And right now, we are in the most dangerous period that shows that this is the worst strategy. Because, as I mentioned a few times, we entered the multipolar world order. There is no one polar, which until now it was United States after the Soviets fell down. Right now we have many polars. Even the United States is using the multipolar world order and make alliances with different blocs. Yeah. And we, as Cyprus, in the middle of the hell, I would say, try to do the worst thing, choosing one side and putting our diplomacy and international relationship on the hands of one bloc. This is totally wrong, and that is, I believe, that makes us pay price very, very soon. When we try to choose the bloc of the Western powers only, which is the United States, their institutions, the institutions controlled by these powers, including the United Nations, we are going to pay a price. I would like to mention one thing here, because I believe that in few months we are going to hear that, and this is a note. This podcast will be a historical note. when I met with Maria Angela Holguin last year, it was the last day before she leave Cyprus after her first 6 months of time. And she told me one thing. She says that, Oz, I don't believe that United Nations peacekeeping force should stay in Cyprus. And I will do whatever I can to stop this game that is playing here. Of course, I answered to him, but I'm not going to get into that. And I feel that in next few months, and I hear that with the report of the Maria Angela Holguin, there's going to be a debate about United Nations peacekeeping force leaving our island, which means that the one more level up for the status quo and the occupation entity in the occupied area. Because when we don't have the United Nations peacekeeping force and the demilitarized zone, what's going to happen? Are there gonna be a border between the occupied area and free areas? What is going to happen? So these powers basically are pushing us to normalize the what is happening in Cyprus, and that's the most dangerous thing. And in 2026, I believe that they are gonna impose us this and the other bad things like this. That is why it is a critical period. It is a period that we cannot leave the power, we cannot leave the decision making to handful of people in the political elite. As a citizens, we have to be in the street. We need to show our will in the May 2026 and show the political elite and the world that we as Cypriots are not obeying. We want sovereignty, we want liberation, we want the Turkish occupiers to leave this island and live as Cypriots free without any foreign power on our soil. That's my position about the Cyprus issue and my thoughts about what's going to happen very soon. Danger.
I must say that the last part, it was like a trigger, you know. Immediately, even your face changed, because I understand it's the most important from all. I want to thank you for your time and be with us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I wish you all the best for the candidacy. And to you, dear friends, thank you first of all that you spend time to watch us. And at the same time, I want to ask you that first of all, go and vote on May, because if you don't vote, then you don't have the right to say anything. And second, think whom MPs they're going to represent you better in the new parliament. Until the next time, thank you very much.